Hey all, this is 01 and
Kazuni Baraki's crazy uncle, Jherick the Jackass. Hello.
yeah, and we're coming at you with our group review of Fullmetal Alchemist, the original once again, and we are on, and like I said, this time I will remember the episode 10, The Phantom Thief, and you guys probably saw my original short review of that yesterday, so you know most of my thoughts. I will chime in here when I can, but take it away, Jherick.
Man, I completely forgot it's called the Phantom Thief. Hey, is Morgana the cat bus gonna show up and help them steal your hearts? Yeah, Persona fans know what I'm talking about.
Okay, yeah, I'm not that into Persona, so I'm like, what the hell was that? But
I know, he probably thought I was talking about, what's it called, Spirited Away or something
well,
like that.
that or Toho Project yet again, but hey.
No, that was the first reference. You missed that one.
Well, whatever, I don't care.
Anyways, we start off our lovely adventure with Ed and Al playing a game of poker against each other, and nothing up Edward's sleeves.
Oh yeah, I mentioned the cheating.
And presto, straight royal flush, you lose. And if you happen to know what Ranma 1/2 episode that's from, congratulations, you're a bigger nerd than we are. Yeah, somebody out there knows what I'm talking about. And then, of course, there's, Ed and Al using, this is kind of a really, really stupid over-your-head reference, but hey, here it goes. Any Persona fans remember the long lecture from Mr. Itogawa about how playing cards originated from the tarot decks, which were used for divination, created in the Middle East specifically, but kind of got adapted more towards petty card games. But yeah, if you don't worry. Persona 4 will remind you because you could relive that nightmare lecture all over again. Yes, I finally got Persona 4 Golden. I'm like 15 years late to that party, I know. But it's worth it. Trust me. Best version of the game. Also, it's kind of funny, but if you watch the episode closely enough, you'll notice our Phantom Thief is using an entirely different deck of cards. Not entirely unusual since Ed and Al are from the Eastern Central Office, and this lady's from a different town. Different decks, different towns, all that kind of spiel.
Yeah, that's the thing. We really don't even know where Siren is from, really. They never even say. She just shows up and started doing her thing.
Yeah, but, they kind of not so subtly hint at the fact that this is kind of like anime Florence, Italy. The gondolas.
Yeah, Agrigoia is definitely Florence, Italy, or Venice, one of the two.
Yeah, Venice, or one of the major touristy towns with the gondolas.
Yeah.
But
because lakes would not have that. I don't care how popular that is. A town of lakes. I mean, that's a big fucking lake. Then, jeez Louise.
Could you imagine if they tried that shit in like France or Britain? Oi, you got a license for that Italian gondola there, do you, sir? But also, hello, Anime Inspector Zenigata, or Inspector Clouseau. Take your pick. It's kind of both.
Or Inspector Gadget, as I was calling him.
Yeah. Don't worry, Chief. I'm always on duty. Yeah, too bad he didn't have a brain and penny with him. Oh. But the city, and my notes here, of course, mention the City of Water, Florence, Italy, or what did they call it again? Agrigoia. Good Lord, I can't believe I didn't look up that reference. But yeah, there's also the our lovely little Phantom Thief, and dear God, she's kind of giving me flashbacks to like the demon cat girl from Persona 5. I forget what her name is, the blonde girl with the whip that everyone likes. Yeah, everybody knows the one I'm talking about. You all wifed her up in that game, don't lie.
If you were hoping to come to here to see a bunch of things about Persona, you came to the right way, because Jherick's going to use this whole video to tell you about Persona references.
I guarantee you, the developers of that game probably love this episode in particular, because seriously, Persona, Catwoman, Black Cat, take your pick.
Yeah.
I'm not even joking about this.
Believe me, I don't kid you, but I did not know when you were taking notes we were going to make so many personas. I mean, because you're already up to 3 references in the first few minutes.
Oh, it's going to get worse, people, because I still haven't even gotten into the truly nerdy shit.
Oh, goody. All right.
The truly nerdy shit.
Well, go ahead.
We also, our alchemist Black Cat, hello, Miss Hardy, works as a nurse. You know, a criminal hiding in the medical field. Yeah, we've never seen that before. Never. But hey, here's your Nerdy Toho reference for the day. She's not the only sociopath who works as a nurse. Hello, Miss Yaguroko. Please don't stab me with your ouchies. And Siren. Yeah, this girl could be a member of Hololive Gen 7 if they ever get around to it. Because, man, is that ever like the most VTuber 90s name I've ever heard. Siren with like a P at the beginning. Like, it sounds like the kind of thing you'd see on a 90s PS2 game or a Hololive VTuber group. Then, of course, we have our Phantom Thief disguising herself as a nurse, using cards and water, the foundation of life, and tools used for divination. One is shapeless and constantly moving and shifting to take the form of whatever holds it. The other is two-sided, and its meaning changes based on the position. Plus, all of her disguises are in areas of public and civil works. Seriously, there are so many interesting little parallels to how she operates, what she's doing, and who she really, and the duplicitous two-sided nature of her.
One, since you brought it up, you know, again, you mentioned the nurse and where she extracted the flower, like not the whole flower, but the petals for the nourishment of the medicine. Then, you know, okay, hospital goes up. She's now a nun. I'm trying to save this church. Oh, she stole the next thing. Church goes up. Now I'm a school teacher.
And it's kind of funny because, again, I know I'm kind of overdoing it with Persona references, but hey, it's just the mask she wears because, you know, I am a shadow, the true self. Actually, I'm really a nun. No, wait, I'm a school teacher. No, wait, actually, it goes on with her.
Well, yeah, but I know what reference you're making from that red-headed, cat-suited blonde, correct?
Yeah.
The one that I know was insanely popular with a lot of fans. I can see what you're talking about now because when you were saying that, I'm like, that's who he's got to be talking about because I could see the subtle references where it's not really a cat. She's like a mix of like Catwoman and a rabbit. We were basically saying you can tell they were using detective stuff from what they knew from American comics, probably in this episode. Inspector Gadget.
Or perhaps, you know, if you're really, really Atlas fans, you probably recognize like that the head thing she's wearing is looking more like an imp, or maybe like a certain famous snowman. He steals things, cannot face. Congratulations, you played Personas 3, 4, and 5.
Well, which I don't, so that went over my head.
Jack Frost, basically the company mascot. Yeah, he's basically in every game. I shit what Atlas game it is, you will find Jack Frost.
Well, it's like with Fire Emblem and Anna. You know, what game has an Anna been in? But she's always there selling.
You know what's funny? In, I believe it's called Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE, Anna is... Yeah, it's the Shin Megami Tensei Fire Emblem crossover game.
Ah, okay.
The one with the idols that everybody hated, and it was originally on Wii U.
Yeah.
Which is now on Switch, by the way. Anna is in the game. She's actually a merchant, and if you approach her, I believe it's at midnight after meeting certain conditions, she will be wearing a Jack Frost mask, and she will end every sentence in hee-ho. Congratulations, you're getting free game tips from Mr. Jackass. You're welcome. Oh, there's also we start to see, well, actually we've seen this before, but it's really obvious in this episode, Owl's got a little bit of an Oedipus complex.
Yeah.
And considering, you know, Sigmund Freud was known to be operate all over Europe, especially areas like Germany, Italy, and France, kind of makes a little sense that we would start to really see this become a lot worse once he's introduced to someone putting on the kind mom act.
Mm-hmm.
You can't really blame the guy, though, after what happened.
I
mean, it's...
Well, and considering him and Edward were still both kids, and they've taken on a life of early adulthood, it didn't really creep me out as much because I think it's more of the caring aspect
Yeah.
that they were getting at it, that she reminds her of his mother. Yeah, it is a little creepy. He still thinks that. You can tell Alphonse is smitten with Claire because the entire time Edward's blaming her for the crimes, and Alphonse is like, oh no, she's doing it for a good reason. She's doing it for a good reason.
Or
she can't do this. Edward or Alphonse, you're getting bought into this crap.
or alternatively, given the cat thief motif, Batman.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, we all know Catwoman ain't going straight, but Batman's still holding on to that hope.
Yep.
And that cope. Hey-o. But also, I found it kind of funny that Mustang's card in this is apparently the Joker. And no, not the Mr. J Joker. We're talking the traditional interpretation where the Joker is a magical trickster. Basically, somebody who moves things along, offers information, tricks people into doing what needs to be done, or to stop them from doing things. The trickster is basically kind of like a living catalyst of fate. They do what is necessary. They're oftentimes, kind of sneaky, highly intelligent, always know more than they let on. Think you're Merlin, you're Gandalf, that sort of thing. So it's kind of ironic that Roy Mustang, who's been the perpetrator of more than a few jokes on the Elrics, which have turned out well for him and them, would have a card basically depicting him as the Joker, the greatest of tricksters.
Yeah, well, and it makes sense because the whole reason they come to Agriglia is because Edward is still in for time because he doesn't want to give the report what happened with Father Cornello and everything in Lior to Mustang because Mustang's going to give him an earful and he knows Mustang's probably going to have an angle to play it. So sort of a nice thing to say that they have that. But again, if you know Mustang from this show and Brotherhood, he does have that where he always has a trick up his sleeve, which is why we said, going back to Brotherhood, we love how, even though it's a different Fuhrer than what we're seeing in the original, Fuhrer Bradley, which I think Jherick pointed this out because I never saw it, has like a weird respect for Mustang and his constant just trying to stop him and put an end to all things.
And we kind of mentioned this before when talking about the back and forth between Brad the Chad and Mr. Mustang. But also another weird difference, and yes, fans, I am doing this. Isn't it funny that his card is the Joker, which in Persona 5, your main character's name is Joker. Who's his main love interest according to most fans? The hot girl in the Red Devil costume who's also one of the thieves. Who's also, by the way, the holder of the Lover Arcana, and who usually gets to see in Persona? The Lover Arcana. And, it's not like Roy Mustang has a history with hot blondes.
So, the Hawkeye or something, I don't...
He likes the busty blondes.
That's true, yeah.
And hey, again, you thought I wouldn't go there. You know better.
Even though I don't get the references, you know better than that, I know better than that. He's going to do it, folks. So,
hey, man, we got South America. I know they get this.
Well, yeah.
You Latinos, you Mexicans, and you South Americans, we love you, babe.
Well, apparently, right now, too, we have fans, and they put up our geographies again after not having them for a while. Apparently, we're now getting people watching in the United Kingdom. So we got people across the pond in Britain there. So, hey.
Hey, but hey, don't hold it against me that I'm half Catholic and Protestant, okay? Just saying.
Same here, dude. I don't let that stop me.
And, of course, we have, one of my favorite needs to get away from Zenigata and the what are they called? The
police.
Yeah, I was gonna go like for you old school movie fans. And of course she's backed up on I believe it's like a little landing area for the gondolas. Give it up, Siren, you can't walk on water. Jesus and alchemy begs to differ.
Yep, she used her cards, and I love how they try to follow her, and they just go sploosh.
And you can tell someone's a read or die fan because that move where she busts out the cards and turns them into a sword, classic read or die. Which again, great anime, you should watch it.
Yep.
Because after all, they turned Shadowcat into a hot lesbian anime spy in that series. We approve.
Oh yeah.
And of course, my favorite joke. And this one, I'll admit, kind of baffles me because we've seen Ed put up with a lot worse in the first episode, no less. But, don't worry, Mr. Elric. It's... Hello, Fauci. And hello, nurse.
Yeah, it's just a poke. It'll be very quick. Oh God, no, brother, what are you doing? You're so mean to me. You're gonna kill me.
He already had automail grafted on, no anesthetic while awake, and he's worried about needles.
Yeah, well,
Look, I'm sorry. I know Yana's a brilliant actor, but that scene should not be in there. I'm sorry.
Even though he acted it greatly,
Yeah.
Same thing with Romy Parker. Romy Parker's freak out was great too.
Fans who are curious just how bullshit OCD did I go, don't worry. I only cut it down to a page and a half. I was a good boy.
So wow, we already got the thing in at 15 minutes. Oh,
I know.
Well,
I would have thought the medication's working.
Well, all right then. Well, all right then, Jherick. I guess we're on to the next point. Characters for this one then.
With these.
Claire Siren, yeah, which I'll get it for you here too.
And dear God, man, the way she just went from like nice little what's the word? Altruistic nurse lady to straight up an adult. You were good, lady. I like it.
Well, again, Clara, or I thought it was Claire, but Clara, Lucy Christian, Miho Shirashi. Miho Shirashi, she definitely had the seductiveness. I'll definitely give her that. She was great. But Lucy Christian, you're absolute legend, you know.
Yeah.
And, being playing up all the three different characters you were, the school teacher, the nun, the nurse, and then being the seductive. And, obviously, if she wanted to be very dangerous siren, because she's definitely very skilled. And as I pointed out, I loved how, this had a connection to the search for the Philosopher's Stone. So the main story is still a part of this episode.
And it's actually really cool how she only gives up what information she knows after the Elves catch her. It's kind of a nice touch and call back to Batman again.
And how they would have done it, but I really wish they would have ran into her one more time. Because I'll be honest, fans, if you haven't seen the original, they don't. It would have been nice because she says, I would love to battle you again one day, Edward, and, meet you guys again because your boys seem good. And as a quick note before we continue characters, let's see. Oh, yeah. Time where someone's working on the Philosopher's Stone. So she tells the Elricks to go there to check it out. Anybody else you like to Jherick in this episode?
Yeah. Oh, of course I have to mention. I mean, he's not going to be the top 3 this time. God forgive me for this, but of course I have to give Mr. Manana his props because, good Lord, that hospital scene. Once again, our boy, the true Broly. The true Kakarot.
Yeah, Kakarot.
But, for number 2, I'm going to have to give it up to anime Zenigata. He was really good.
Yep, Mark Stoddard, Fumihiko Tatsuki.
I mean, hell, now I want to see this guy in a death battle with the actual Zenigata. No, really. Let's see who has a better incompetent goof-off. Him, Inspector Clouseau, Inspector Gadget, or Zenigata.
I guarantee you, out of all of them, Inspector Clouseau would somehow find a way to win. No,
that's true. His levels of clueless power are too high.
Oh, yeah.
And as for number 3, I'm going to have to give this to Al because, again, Al is just a scene stealer no matter what he does.
Mm-hmm. Well, honestly, Jherick, you for all characters because I won't divulge much into it, but those were Edward, Alphonse, Clara, and the best characters. And ironically, they were the only main characters in this episode. But I mean, everybody else did a great job in this episode. You just mentioned a few: the Doctor, voiced by Josh Martin, and Hideyuki, Mother Lydia McMurray, Trisha Elric, if you don't know what I'm talking about, and the old woman. Respect to Linda Young, always. You are an absolute legend. And Rehiko Suzuki.
A lot of interesting setup in this episode. Like, for instance, Boku mentioned this. She gives up the clue about somebody working on Philosopher's Stone called Xenotime. And, if you're pedantic or OCD enough, you would know Zeno means like strange, foreign, or outsider.
Yeah.
Combine that with time, you've got like foreign time, strange time, or outside time. So we know something interesting is going to be set up in the next episode already.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the other brothers Elric is a great. It's a great, and believe me, they don't do it often, but it's a two-parter episode, and it's a great two-parter episode. I mean, I remember it being great because, again, they find to give you a little tidbit from what I can remember, it's two brothers who do alchemy who are actually taking a plagiarism thing. I don't know if the little brother was into it or if he was just going all for it. And there's some sinister means to it, but basically that's what it is, which is why it's called the Other Brothers Elric, because you have these two brothers taking the identity and trying to use their success to get what they need.
And there's actually, I'm not sure if this was intentional, but there was a lot of that in anime at that time period. Like, if any of you are familiar with this really, really obscure battle like Ninku, you have like these three.
I'm not.
Yeah, these three artists who were trained by this crazy good guy who was like basically teaching anime superpowers to just different disciples and giving them different ones. And then it happens and they all spread out across the world and battle each other. And they meet up with this girl and, they're basically going around looking for this guy and basically kind of doing the Elric thing where they become accidental heroes. Well, along the way, they run into a town that basically is promoting the idea that these guys, the Ninku, are their protectors, except they're not. They're all frauds and phonies. They're just, basically borrowing these guys' legend to basically get an easy life for themselves.
Yeah.
Which bites them on the ass, by the way, but the Ninku guys save them in the end. But yeah, there was a lot of that in anime. I mean,
well, there was. I mean, that was a lot in the 90s and early 2000s.
I mean, still kind of is. I mean, if any of you are familiar with Gundam Unicorn, you might think, yeah, that full frontal guy, Giggity, looks a lot like Char Aznable, dresses like Char Aznable. God, the Sananju looks a lot like the Sazabi. That's because he's a clone of Char, by the way. Which, by the way, he's not even the only one. Seriously, the guy's the Kyo Kusanagi of the Gundam universe. Yeah, I know you South Americans know what I'm talking about.
Well, alrighty. I guess on that note, because overall, fun, great episode, and basically we've mentioned all that we can. Because other than that, there really isn't much to say about it. It was just a fun, really fun, good episode, and
there is
another learning, give or take, for the Elrics about how.
Just kind of a small aside. I'm not sure if this is really going to continue to play out, but one small last thing I noticed. We kind of seem to be going through a sort of Genshin, what's the word?
Impact.
Training arc, where each town seems to have like a different theme.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that, yeah.
Yeah, we cut like the first town, we had like the desert with a lot of earth stuff. This one's got like water. So I'm noticing like bit by bit, we're kind of getting a nice progression.
Well, then you also had the mining town in you as well.
Yeah, so we're kind of seeing like they're getting to like we know they're already prodigies, but they're learning, they're seeing like different aspects of alchemy, how it gets used and abused. So I wouldn't be too shocked if somewhere down the road we see other interesting themed towns. Kind of like Pokemon in that sense.
If I remember, you do, because they do travel, which again, I know they do it in Brotherhood, but again, it meant something more because in Brotherhood, you could tell it's more about getting to Father and gathering their forces. Yeah. But in this one, it really, like the places they've Tale. The original show really is the Journeyman's Tale, which essentially, if you guys have read the book, The Alchemist, which I think was written in the early 50s, that book talked about how White Nicholas Flamel and what he did. I don't think they ever say the name Nicholas Flamel, but you're following an alchemist who discovers the Philosopher's Stone. And like I said, people around him died, and I think he used their essences to make it, but they were already dead. It's not like he was using like real people. But again, if that is supposed to be Nicholas Flamel, that's supposed to be the thing where, he went around the Middle East, India, all over the place. I think he even went to Asia. So tying the Brotherhood there probably makes sense. But, where he grows and becomes a better alchemist from it.
And it's also kind of ties back to easily the biggest thing you're ever going to hear in a Persona game. I see you have a unique power, the power of the Fool. And yeah, the journeyman story is actually a bit of an expansion upon the fool's journey. I'm sure you've all heard it, you know? That's the hero's journey, because honestly, who else but a fool would take on the role of being the hero?
Well, again, and what were the greater Elrics at the time when they were fools trespassing in God's domain?
Yeah.
Which again, Alphonse didn't want to do, but he did it because he was following Edward, and they both did want to see their mother again, so they both committed an egregious sin, and in a sense are paying for it through this
And
journey.
it's interesting too, because again, thank you, Mr. Itogawa, for teaching me this in the Persona franchise. But what's the first card in the Arcana? The Fool. The hero starts their journey, which is depicted by a kid with like 1 foot off a cliff and one on it. What's the one right afterwards? The Magician. Great and powerful knowledge, but destructive if used improperly. And yeah, if you go down the progression of the Arcana, chances are you have a pretty good idea where this series is going. But hey, don't take my word for it. Listen to the long-nosed Japanese Humpty Hump and his sexy assistants in the Velvet Room.
Alrighty, well, on that note, this is 012Boku and
Mr. Trouble, and I'm totally not going to get us demonetized one day.
Ooh, well, believe it or not, you said you may have had, because, by the way, if this helps, guys, I don't know if anyone saw this, because he said it's a possible shadow ban because the word Pentagon is just in it, but
yeah,
we noticed nobody's checked out any of our views on Pentagon Wars yet. I think my short review has 1 view, and our group one has none. So again, I don't know if it's nothing that you guys haven't seen, but if you guys are curious and couldn't see that one, just search Pentagon Wars 012Boku. I'm pretty sure you'll find it, guys. If that's true, then it's not going to pop up in your feeds if any of my stuff comes in your feeds and recommendations.
They shadow ban stuff for a lot less. So, if you've heard of the video, you think it's good, just, give it a recommendation to your friends.
Yeah, and don't forget to favorite and stuff, because that probably would help it too. But until then, yeah, 012Boku.
I am Jackass of the Fool Arcana.
And we will see you guys again. All right, later.
Deuces.
Good review, dude.